Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to introduce the newest hair tools that I built. It's called Hair Painter. It lets you create a very realistic hairs by just drawing curve. What you see over here, everything is just drawing curve, including the eyebrow and the eyelash and the beard and the braid. It's all just drawing curve. Now it is on my Blender market and you can go check it out. I will leave the link on the description and also on Gumroad, so you can see something like this. Control things like this, and it also contain with the hair node that I mentioned before, and also all the special node, mesh to hair node, and the proxy for animation, and also Fuzz node, and also the haircut maker. So it is a huge update for the hair node. If you have bought the hair node v2, please go check on the description or the top comment. And if you join my Patreon, you can get some discount or free download. So now let's see how do we use this awesome hair painter. So now let's make some hairs. So first, best you using cycle, but you can also use Eevee as well, and then set the curve to be this, light path to be higher, especially for the transparent. Now let's import the hair painter systems. So after you download it, just put in your assets library, and you will have both of these hair painter and the haircut maker. So you just drag it and drag it out and delete this instance. Let's take a look at here. So in here you will have every node. Up here is the brand new hair painter systems that we will talk about first. You will see you have this collection. It is a preset for the hair painter. Now let's use this preset for the eyelash. So let's go here. First you have a curve, and then let's pick the root object, and then go to the hairs, pick the root object as well. So just pick two of these root object, and then now let's go to this curve and then go to the edit mode. Okay, and then we pick this draw mode. Make sure you are using this poly and the surface, and make sure you are turning off this only first. Okay, so now let's draw two curve from here, and you can draw it from here as well. So right away you have eyelash for your both side. So I think the quality is very good out of the box. Okay, and there's a lot of setting. Talk about the setting later. Now let's go to the eyebrow. Do the same as before. Pick the head object, and also pick the head object, and then let's go back to the curve, and then we draw. So the eyebrow is a little bit different than the eyelash. First we draw the outline of your eyebrow. For example, maybe you want your eyebrow looks like this, and then we draw a guideline for the peak of your eyebrow. So maybe like this. Looks pretty nice out of the box. We can tweak this, select mode, and then using this, drag this. Maybe it's too high, so we can put this and then rotate this, and just tweak it until you feel looks perfect. Or you can go crazy with it, give a very different look. And also there's a lot of detail that we can control. We will go to the detail later. Okay, now let's go to the beard. So the beard is a little bit more similar to the eyebrow. Beard have one more detail control, so let's pick that. Then let's go to the curve, just draw. That is mustache. Make another setup. So now we try to draw something like this. So now we have this kind of beard, but it looks kind of like a Wolverine. Now we try to use the both. Okay, and then let's go to the hair focus. Point toward to the normal. Now we can try to give it some more detail. Very quickly, we can have something like this. Okay, now let's talk about the peach fuzz. Peach fuzz is very similar to the beard. Draw where you want it to have peach fuzz. You see, like this area, it doesn't have a guideline. Just tweak a little bit, it will come back. Quick way to make some peach fuzz braid. So also pick the root object and also pick hairs, pick the root object. Okay, and now let's go back to the curve and draw something. There's two different kind of braid. One is growing out like this, and one is like a stay on your head skin. So first, let's do it like the growing out. So for do that, you have to pick this only the first, stay on the surface. So let's draw it like this. Okay, now we have this, and now we close this only first, and then let's draw something different. Very quickly, we can draw the braid. So now you see there's mesh, right? Turn off that. So that is the hairs. The hairs is using this guide to create the hairs. So that is the actual hair that we get. So when you render, you have to turn off this, okay? And let's see the quality of it. It's very good. But also for this kind of hairs, stay on the skin. Actually, the root should be all the way open from here. So now we have this option that we can click on, root on the attach. So when we click on that, you will see you will have this very realistic and beautiful result. And also we have a lot of setting we can control for the braid, but now let's take a look at another magical tools. It's called the hairline. But the hairline tools is too much detail to talk about, so I decided to put it in the last. So now first, let's take a look at the setting that we can tweak. First, let's talk about the eyelash. All of these tools, it contains with two parts. One is curve, one is called hair. So the logic is first we use curve to draw something, right? It create some kind of mesh, and the mesh will convert to become a hair using this hair. More detail to control individual hairs. Yeah, that's the logic. Upper side and the lower side we can toggle off, and we have sample and the tilt, rotate this, and the tilt noise, tilt differently. And the grow, you can grow your eyelash, have kind of curvature. You can put down the number, let it go beyond 1. Profile, let's see in this angle. You can see the shape will go differently, and also the profile for the end. Rotation, so you can rotate your eyelash to throw a certain direction. Okay, also it's the same for the lower part. So now we have control the base, and then we can control the hair for the eyelash. Children count, and this is the clamp, like your eyelash will stick together, and this is the compress, even more stick together. Okay, so that is the setting for the eyelash. So now let's talk about the eyebrow. First, let's turn off the hairs and let's see the curve. So you will see you have this kind of string that I call it guide hair. It will guide the hair that we create. So very important, the shape that you draw it will give a very different result. On the curve, we have this simple count. Both of these give the thickness, and also the direction is very important. In the upper direction, it means this part. You can tweak this to the opposite direction. You can try this, and this one is the end, like this part will be effect, but beginning of your eyebrow still point this direction. So you have a very detailed control of your hair, okay, and also the curvature of the hair. So if we goes to the 0, your hair will be just totally straight. Just if go to 1, will be curve. Hair focus, when it goes to 0, it will just point directly along with the normal. And the profile height, the height of your eyebrow. Okay, now that is all the setting for our guiding hair. Now let's go to see the eyebrow hairs. So there's two main parts. One is called main hairs, that's what you see over here, and the other is called extra hairs. It's just kind of the same as this, but you can trigger this, make it more loose, more rough hairs, so you can have different kind of layers to stack to each other. Okay, so let's turn off this first. First, we have this like a density. You can use this offset to control it, more hair to the end or more hair to the beginning, and the length, and trim by distance. It's also kind of like the length, but close to the outline will be shorter, and the flat, let your eyebrow be totally flat on your head. And the children count also make some density. Children offset, it just make the root go wider. So now let's talk about the beard. The logic is the same, but it got another function called enable. You can enable only the top, or enable using only the lower, or both. If you're going to grow a mustache, usually you only just need to use the top, and the mustache will grow down. So you can use this system to grow mustache or beard over here. And then let's go to the hair. So this setting is basically the same. You have some extra detail. Also pick the root object and set the radius. So we have length, density, and the direction. You can control where you pull, curvature, that how you tweak guideline. You can have a very different result. You can draw multiple set of the hairs, but now here looks more dense than here. That's because here have the same amount of count as this, but this area is tighter, right? So now we can go, when you pick this center line, you tweak this main radius to be lower. Okay, so it will reduce the count, or tweak higher, it will be more dense. So you can use this to control that. So now let's talk about the braid. So you see there's a curve. It created this kind of mesh. So now let's turn off the hairs first and just see the base mesh, because braid is a little bit heavy to calculate. So when you tweak, best that you can just turn off the hair first. And we have this mirror function, so you can see it while you tweak. Warp on object, and that's the extrude, and that is the sample, the detail of it. That is the highest. The density is this line that will be turning to hair later. So if you give more density, you will have more hairs. And the strength that you can turn it to be higher, but also you need to lower the frequency to get the better result. If you find braid have a different size of this, tweak this offset, you can get a better result. So that is the scale, make it wider. You also need to lower the frequency. Try to find a perfect number between this. Now our braid is really wide. Usually you need to turn up your density really high, otherwise your hair doesn't really cover. You will have some kind of hole. So you need to turn up your density higher. Okay, so now it looks better. But there is function that inside of this hair is called using base mesh. Turn up this. You don't really need to have a very high density of hairs. It creates a base mesh inside of your braid. Visually, you will fill the gap. Base scale and the length and the tilt and also the spin. And then final there is the tail. So it's this part. So we can make this part wider. So the tail point is for the where it tight. So maybe 0.5. We'll go to the middle. And also we can replace this tight object. So let's create a Suzanne. Remember to apply the scale. Okay, now let's try to replace this tight object. So now you have the Suzanne, and it's using a material from here. You can scale it down even more from here, and you can rotate it and offset a little bit. Yeah, so that is the setting that you can tweak on this curve. And also let's see some other setting on the hairs. There's children, offset for the children, and also this offset only for the base. So further make your root wider, make the tail a little bit shorter, make the tips of it more natural. Okay, and some noise for your hairs, so you can have some noise here. Yeah, so that is the braid. Finally, let's talk about the hairline. You just need to draw a line, and then it will create a hair downward, or you draw a line like this and it will grow upward. So let's see how do we use that. So also we just pick root object for this one and also for the hairs. It's best you make some mask cutting out the place that you don't wish to be affected by some collision, something that is inside of your model. Now let's go to this curve and we just try to draw something. Maybe something like this. Okay, and then we just draw a line over here. So now you see we grow some here, and we have these upward hairs and also some of the baby hair hanging downward. And now we can try to grab this, fill the gap and scale it. Go here to change the main radius on this second line. Trim your hair so it will be shorter. Make another set of this. So let's draw again to here and draw again from here. Okay, and on this second line we can change the length, right? We just show you, but on this first line we can change the main radius for how many sample. So this hair contain with two parts. One part is the upward main hair and the other part is the baby hair downward. So let's go here. We can see this. This is the main hair and this is the baby hairs. And the baby hair even have some extra hairs go upward. Of course, there's a lot of detail that we can change for the density and the curvature and smooth. And there's another layer of density, length, let it grow or just shorter. or flat if you wanted to totally warp on your face, and a little bit offset. So sometimes you just you can just use this baby here. You can mute this if you already have your own hairstyle upward. Okay, so now let's try to make some downward hair. So now we are at the top, and let's draw it from the face to the back. Draw like this. Then we can draw another line like this, or we can just duplicate this line. So you can see this kind of guiding line that is point from here to point to this curve. Instead of let it go all straight, we want to let it open. So let's try to grab this part close to here like this, so it will close up, and also for the front very quickly have some kind of hairstyle. Okay, and of course we can control the density or the length using the control panel over here, and some noisy hair. Okay, and some root bump a little bit higher, and some other setting, maybe warp bitter to your face or extend more out, draw something new. Yeah, so very quickly you can have this kind of hairstyle. So we can draw a circle over here, and then we duplicate this circle and make it bigger. Give a density on this first ring. You see there's open from here because the curve doesn't close. Pick both of these end and toggle the cycle, so let it close. So it filled the gap, and then now we just like shorten the hair. Okay, so very quickly you have this nice clean cut of your hair. You go to the node, and there's a lot of setting inside of this node. Actually, you can tweak. I marked them in the blue. The one that we are going to use is length by G curve vector. So just by tweaking this, you can have some haircut. Let's try to draw two circles over here and make it shorter. And then you turn the tilt very high. Very quickly you make a sphere of the hairs. The possibility is actually quite a lot, so just play around with it. So let's say I'm happy with the hairstyle right now. I can just render this, but if I wanted to sculpt this using the brush further, it will have some problem because the hair not being applied, and it is generated by all these nodes, so it's not sculptable. So now we wanted to apply this hair, so you can just hit apply. If your model it's a very regular model that don't have any shape key, but for example, I'm using human generator, so it's all driven by the shape key because the model actual shape is actually looks like this, and it have a lot of shape key. So now let's use the eyebrow as example. If I try to apply the eyebrow with human generators model, I just hit apply, try to animate the body, the eyebrow still stay in the same place. That's because we still need to attach the eyebrow to the surface. But when we hit this, you will see the eyebrow will go to wrong place. That's because of the shape key that I just mentioned. The way to fix that is using a node called here deform on bake surface. Pick this inside of this node, there's a bake, so let's bake in this state. Okay, and then now let's go to the body and hit this pin, and then we apply this and we hit attach on surface. So now when we go back and we can animate this, okay, and we can brush it, okay, so it become a regular hair. So it's the same for all the hairs. So that is how you apply your hair if you have shape key. So that is all the hair pattern. Hope you download this and you quickly create some facial hairs and some hairstyle. And this will be on the Blender Market and Gumroad. And if you join my Patreon, you can get some discount and the free download. And there is some other note and special note that I have mentioned in my previous video. So I will leave some link and you can go check it out. See you, bye bye.